We're bound for Spain, 40 kilometers northeast of Bilbao, on the coast in the Basque Country. 1:15. In this restaurant, it's time to start cooking. The specialty here is fish, and fish is good for you. Our grandmothers were already convinced of this. And it's true that there is no mystery or doubt about the relationship between health and diet. Doctors and consumers agree that quality of meals is an important factor to combat deficiencies and reduce serious diseases. This relationship is what is targeted by the European project SEAFOODplus.
The overall objective with SEAFOODplus is to take out the health benefits from consuming seafood, and that is to prevent the major diseases that we are seeing in Europe, and it is also to increase the consumer well-being.
SEAFOODplus groups 70 partners from 15 European countries and Canada. This is the largest research project ever sponsored by the European Union in the field of seafood, with a subsidy of 14.4 million euros out of a total budget of 26 million euros. To reach the objective of improving the health of the European population, particularly by fighting cardiovascular disease and certain forms of cancer, the SEAFOODplus project is looking at fish caught in the sea as well as fish raised in farms. The project is organizing research along 6 specific but completely interdependent lines. The first of these is called Seafood and Nutrition. This is the starting point for SEAFOODplus. Epidemiological studies have shown that there is a link between the quality of nutrition and the quality of health in human beings. When speaking of nutrition, the first thing to say is that there are no bad foods, just bad diets, and that a good diet should in any case take account of fish products. Good diets, including fish products, can also help reduce diseases like osteoporosis or obesity, for example. And they also contribute to the general well-being of the person. This aspect of things is undeniable. Still, it's important to see what the level of consumption of seafood products is in Europe and which elements are determinant. This is the second facet of the project, seafood and consumer behavior and well-being. Here, the sensorial laboratory of the ASTI Institute, the Spanish SEAFOODplus partner, is trying to describe and predict the factors that influence consumption of seafood products. In this specific case, researchers have already identified several aspects of consumer preferences. In addition to meeting the basic requirements for any food product as concerns nutritional characteristics and food safety, fishing products should cover 3 new consumer expectations. Those associated with pleasure, including the sensorial characteristics of the product, and the practical aspect of quick use in the kitchen, so the product should be almost ready for consumption. Finally, they should meet expectations as concerns health and new trends corresponding to the demand for functional foods. Consumers also want to have every guarantee concerning food safety. This is the third pillar of the SEAFOODplus project. Seafood safety. This is a crucial point for European researchers and consumers because products from the sea could entail certain risks for human health if they contain harmful bacteria or viruses. To avoid this kind of situation, all possible risks of contamination must be identified and, where possible, eliminated. There are different sources of contamination. It can be related to the zone where fish are caught, the handling of the product on the boats or in processing plants preparing the seafood, or be due to the final consumer. As concerns viruses, the SEAFOODplus program will focus on methods of detection to find more accurate and more sensitive ways of identifying viruses in certain products, like oysters. This is also done by improving controls in various chains of production. Fourth aspect, seafood from source to consumer product. Limiting risks is one thing, Working to preserve the quality and nutritional value of seafood products is another. Particularly in the convenience food market, which is tending to grow at an accelerating pace. For researchers and for this Basque SME that markets 20 tons of fish in tubs per month, the preservation aspect is fundamental. As concerns preservation, meaning improving the safety of fishing products, we will be developing new preservation processes so we can obtain products in demand by consumers, products ready to be consumed and easy to prepare by the consumer. One clear example is desalted cod. We will develop new technologies to improve the quality and safety of this type of product. The important point is ensuring high nutritional quality and tastiness of products that meet consumer demands. Taste is also a factor for aquacultural products. Consumers often complain that this kind of product has relatively poor taste. Moreover, when they learn that a farm like this one produces 300 tons of turbot a year, they feel concerned about the ethical side of intensive raising and the preservation of marine stocks. It must be recognized that in the long run, the stocks in the sea will not suffice to meet demand for fish. This is why SEAFOODplus is taking a look at fish farms to obtain ethically acceptable products and provide healthy products to the final consumer. At this time, the final products produced by fish farms are healthy for the consumer. But we can still improve them. And in one of its projects, SEAFOODplus intends to study the relationship between the food used in these aquaculture tanks and the quality of the flesh and the fat-muscle ratio of these products. Then we will be able to make healthier products for the final consumer. Before leaving the fish farm, the turbot are weighed and sorted by size. To overcome consumer resistance to this type of product, the SEAFOODplus project will also encourage consumer information on those that give the best guarantee of traceability. Traceability is the last concern of SEAFOODplus and an important aspect for European consumers. Traceability refers to the ability to establish the history of a food product through all its stages. For example, the packaging on this desalted cod mentions where the fish was caught in the Northeast Atlantic and also indicates the batch number.
Traceability is very relevant for seafood products, just as well as other food commodities, you could say. And the reason it's not only related to, should I say, food scandals or food scares, but it is generally also an opinion that the consumer would like to know where does the seafood originate from and what kind of links has it been through before it comes to the consumer.
In the case of fresh fish, traceability is even more important because the market is very fragmented due to the existence of many intermediaries, which makes it particularly difficult to monitor the product from the start to the end of the distribution chain. In Bermeo, one of the main ports of the Spanish Basque Country, fishing was very good today. At 6 p.m. all the boats came in full of mackerel. This is the fish caught most in this region, followed by anchovies and tuna. Most of the fish caught here is intended for the Spanish market. On a European scale, Spain is one of the largest consumers of seafood products. As this graph shows, the situation is not very consistent all over Europe. Portugal, Iceland, Norway and Spain definitely stand out as concerns their level of consumption, whereas Belgium and Great Britain are at the tail of the list.
The average consumption in Europe for seafood is about 24 kilograms per person per year. But the trend is that we see in some regions and in some age groups there is a tendency that there is less consumption of seafood. And in particularly for young people, we see that they are eating not as much seafood as the older people.
SEAFOODplus is not limited to a single horizon and will also seek ways to encourage young consumers. They don't know how to prepare fish at home and are the first to demand prepared dishes using seafood products. Encouraging young people all over the European Union to consume more fish is a parallel objective of SEAFOODplus, which confirms its initial objective for the next 4 years, reducing health problems of Europeans by offering them healthy, high-quality, easy-to-prepare seafood products.